Hey guys, I am going to be ranking the tank artifacts in this video, just because I thought it would be a fun thing to do. I really like doing ranking videos, and I'll probably be doing some more in the future. They're pretty enjoyable, and I took the liberty of making my own template, because there's not a lot of Watcher of Realms tier list stuff, as I'm sure some of you guys know if you've ever tried to look them up. So I just made this one pretty fast. It's not perfect, obviously, but I think I have them all here. I don't have any exclusive artifacts because I figured I would do those all together. And I might do the other classes in the future. I just figured I would start with tanks because tanks are the easiest to do. um, but anyways, let's get into it. Enough of an intro. So we're starting off with the only epic one that I would really consider a tank artifact. Since the artifacts got changed, I would consider this to be the only one. What it does is when attacked, gains a 10-second shield with shield strength equal to 10% of the hero's max HP, which sounds good, but the effect can only be triggered one time every 65 seconds. It's pretty average. I would honestly put it as C, maybe like a low C. I don't think I would ever use this. There's better options. Obviously, if you max it out, it might be a bit better, but I don't think it's worth it, just to put it simply. And then next we have the Soulbane Rosary, which is one of the new ones. It reduces max HP by 20% and increases attack by 8% and increases attack speed by 30%. This is a really weird one. It makes you worse at tanking for a tank, and then it slightly increases attack and attack speed. I guess maybe in certain niches this could be useful, but I tend to value tank stuff that actually makes you tank better, because that's the entire point of being a tank. So the very act of reducing your HP in in exchange for slightly better stats is not worth it. I would rank this D, maybe even an F. This is not good. I would never use this, ever. Maybe there's some niche you could use with it, but it's not worth it. Tanks are meant to tank. Next up, though, we have Solar Embrace. Solar Embrace is kind of interesting. When taking damage, defense is increased by 12% for 3 seconds. I will say this is pretty good. I'm not 100% sure if defense is better than HP yet. I have heard from some people that it is, some people that it isn't. But from what I've heard, defense is pretty good, and I will be testing it soon. I've tested it a little bit to know that it's good. I just need to do a designated video for it. I would rate this like a low B, maybe like a B. The only issue with this one, I'm pretty sure, is that you have to be hit to trigger it, so you're missing out on all the bonuses before you're hit. And then when you're hit, you still have to wait a couple seconds. So this is only going to be good if you're getting hit multiple times by multiple enemies, or just by an enemy that attacks a lot. So it makes it kind of not that great unless that happens. Um, Next, though, we have the Watchguard's Unity, which gives you 10% max HP. Obviously, once again, these things can be leveled a bit more, but I'm pretty sure this only levels to plus 15% more. It's not bad. I kind of want to put it C. I could put it low B. I could put it C. But I think it's just outmatched as an artifact. I think there are just other things that are better. It's just kind of, why would you use this when there's so many other options down the list? But it is usable. Early game, this is not a bad artifact. Maybe I will actually put it B. It's not too bad. So, moving on, we have one of my personal favorites that I love to use on certain characters, and that's the North Will. The North Will is kind of interesting. It heals you whenever your hero loses shield. This one's very character specific, so you want to use this on a defender that will have lots of shields. You want to use it when you're using like Vortex or something. This is an amazing artifact for Olog. Olog frequently, like every 11 seconds, will change his shield out, and then he will heal 10% with this. So I'm going to put this A, purely because Olog is so good early game, which is when you would be using this when you don't have the mythic options, and it's just so good for one of the best defenders in the game. Obviously, if you're not using Olog or anything, this thing would probably be like B or whatever. But I think just because of the utility it gives to a free unit we all get, I would rate it high, but you don't have to agree with me. It's my list. No one's gonna agree with everything, right? So, moving on, we have the Nightmare Serpent. The Nightmare Serpent is kind of similar to the Norse Will in a way. It makes it so when you take damage 5 times, restores HP equal to 3% max HP. The effect can only take effect 1 time every 4 seconds. This one's pretty good. I think it's solid, maybe B tier. Maybe I will move this down a little bit. This is pretty good because tanks are obviously taking a lot of damage. And it's quite strong. I think you could make an argument that it's a bit lower, maybe even a bit higher. I'm not sure, but I think I'm pretty comfortable putting it in the middle of the road. It reads really well, but I don't see many areas where it would be too broken. So next up we have the Heart of Thorn, sorry, which is when you take damage, there's an 8% chance of dealing damage equal to 10% max HP to the attacker. I don't like this one. I'll be honest, I really don't like these attacking artifacts. I would put it like a C. I mean, it scales off of max HP, which is good, but as a tank, why would you want them to do damage? And it's a percentage chance, so you're having like a 10% chance or less, I don't know, depends on how leveled it is, to deal 10% your max HP. For example, let's say you had this on a Brokir, which has insane base HP. You're only going to be hitting them for like 10,000 damage once every like 10 hits. You could just use a DPS for that. Even at early game, your DPS will be doing more damage than that. You should just be putting on a tank artifact, like an actual tank artifact instead, and then you'll do better. It's just, what is the point? I don't like these. I might even put it D, but I think you could maybe in some niche scenarios use it effectively. I don't like it very much. I mean, I will put it D. I just hate how it reads. I guess you could probably find some use for it, but it's just tanks are meant to tank. I will keep on saying that tanks are meant to tank. But we have a pretty decent one, at least for legendary artifacts. We have Rex's Vow. I'm gonna straight up put it A tier. This one is reduces damage taken by 10% when protected by a shield. Your tanks, at least the ones that will be using legendary artifacts, are definitely going to be putting on lots of shields. Baron has a lot of his tankiness in his shield. Olog has a lot of tankiness in his shield. Brokir gets a lot of tankiness in his shield. If you're using any sort of Northern Lord, you're going to get a lot of shields up. I think it's so valuable in certain areas. Very good for AMR 18 if you're working on that, which you will be if you don't really have that many mythic artifacts, which we will get to in a second. I just think it's so useful. It definitely bolsters your tankiness, and I really like it. So moving on, we have Death Knell, which is a new one. This is probably the only one I haven't really seen be used. What it does is a lot of things. When the hero is deployed, increase defense by 5%. When the hero's HP drops to 40% or below, instantly restores 15% HP, but this effect can be triggered up to only 1 time per deployment. This one's a bit hard to rank because it's just built-in defense, but 5%, which is not bad. And then it has a conditional requirement, which doesn't really do too much, and only activates once. I really do not like the activate once effects because in a full course of a game, of a round, you're generally going to want your tank to live. You do not want to have a tank die. So this relies on your tank living, not very much, because it only triggers 1 time. So it's going to help you live once, then you're going to die, and then it becomes like, oh, it's going to take forever to get it to be useful again. Compared to like the A tier artifacts so far, this does not bring any tankiness to the table, but it does add some defense and some slight utility I think you can get some use out of. I will put it middle of the road, bottom of B. It's whatever. You could use it if you have. I think it would be better than slightly more max HP and all of these things, but I do not see it being as good as the things above it. Though, we get to our mythic artifacts here. We start with one of the new ones as well, which is the Astral Obelisk. I will say that a lot of these mythic artifacts baseline will be at least B tier, pure or around B tier, purely because of their base stats being so much better. They give a lot more HP and stuff, but just know that a lower ranking mythic artifact means that their effect is probably less good than the higher ranking the higher ranking legendary artifacts. Anyways, we get Astral Obelisk to start, which is completely made for constants. What it does is it increases your attack by 5%, and after receiving healing, increases rage regen by 25% for 5 seconds. The main issue I have with this artifact is it reads like it would be really good for constant, and it's made for her. But when you level it up, it does not increase the attack. You want high attack on your constants for stuff like Guild v Guild, Conqueror. So it's not good. The rage regen could be useful. I guess you can find some use out of it, and the base stats alone make it kind of decent. But honestly, I put it here. I kind of want to put it C, but I can't bring myself to put it C. I want to put it C. I'm putting it C purely because it makes me mad that the attack doesn't get raised at all when you level it up. So it's not even the best constant artifact, unfortunately. But anyways, you can put it higher if you want. I can't think of a good use for this. You're just gonna use a rage regen healer, and then the rage regen doesn't make a big difference. It's whatever. Anyways, we get Tuning Crystal. Tuning Crystal is kind of interesting. After every 10 basic attacks landed, it deals physical damage one time equal to 200% of damage multiplier to at least 5 targets and restores 10% of HP of damage dealt. I've only seen this really be used on one character, and that is Captain Reeve for the Conqueror IC, and some other areas. I'm sure there's other units you could use this for, but I will still rate this high B purely because of the utility. The only reason why I am not putting it higher is purely because the later entries on this list have a lot more versatility. This is too character specific. And although it is really good for those characters, I don't think it should be higher. But of course, if you think it should be higher, that's fine too. Then we get to Goddess Grace in a second. Goddess Grace increases defense by 10% passively and gains an extra 3% defense bonus for every 10 seconds on the battlefield, stacking up to 3 times. That's 19% extra defense. This is very good. I'm not 100% sure if this is better than this, which I will get to in a second, for damage on your damaging tanks, but I would honestly put this S tier. I genuinely think that Goddess Grace is so just useful for anything. It works very well on any tank, especially if they have high defense. I'm pretty sure it scales off of your extra defense as well, which is how a lot of artifacts work. I could be wrong about that, so don't quote me on that. But Goddess Grace, very, very useful. Tons of defense being added, and you're going to get the 19% very fast. So I think it's just very useful. Anyways, Bloodlust Phylactery is such a weird name. It increases damage permanently by 1% when damage is taken, stacking up to 15 times. I will put this A tier. I want to put it here purely because I like North's Will on Ollog more, but you could rank it higher or lower. It's whatever you think. But Bloodlust Phylactery I know is really good on stuff like Toreador, on your damaging tanks. So the reason why I have it up is because of those damaging tanks benefiting quite well from this artifact. So it's just pretty useful. But once again, I don't really rank attacking tanks very highly, just because I don't know, they're not they're not that good generally. But I'm pretty sure this is decent on Gon, unless this is better on Gon. I don't have Gon, so I can't say. And I know this is good on Toreador. It's whatever. Next up we have Regal Crest, our second to last one. Regal Crest, I want to put A as well. 20% extra received healing. It's really strong, but I think tanks really excel with their base stats, so that's why I don't have it higher. Um, I rate the utility that extra stats give more than extra healing, but this is the one I am like pretty unsure about because I've never really had a Regal Crest. It's one of my only artifacts I've never had. So you could always rate it lower, you could always rate it higher. That's up to you. Though of course we get to the main artifact that you will always want to be using. Bastion Rig, best tank artifact. It's not even arguable. It gives an extra block, which already makes it one of the best. And it increases physical and magic damage reduction by 4% for every blocked unit, stacking up to 4 times. That's insane. Bastion Ring is by far the best. Honestly, the rest of the artifacts, except for specific characters, um, can pretty much be ignored because Bastion Ring is so broken. It's very good. So this is the list. Feel free to disagree with me in the comments. Just tell me what you would rate instead. Um, this is just kind of how I feel as a pretty mid to end game player. This is just my opinion. Obviously, you don't have to agree. But I just figured I would do this for fun, basically. Just because, I love tier lists. And I figured I would share it with you guys. Also, the template should be up, so if you want to do your own tier lists, please go ahead. I just kind of named it this. I might, if I remember, I'll link it in the description. Though I'm not 100% sure if YouTube lets you link stuff anymore, so I'm not sure about that one. But anyways, hope you guys enjoyed my annoying ramblings for 20 minutes. And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. Bye bye. Have a great day, guys.